So what happens is every country has a different businesses which make money because of, say, Saudi Arabia has a lot of oil and gas.
Right.
So one type of industry will make money. Whereas in India, it's much more consumer focused. I mean, we don't produce so much of oil, but oil processing company might do very well. Or say tech companies are, so Saudi Arabia doesn't have tech, but we have a lot of tech. So, you know, every country has a different set of companies, different set of businesses which will make money. So first, it's worthwhile to go and study in last 10-15 years which are the businesses which are big and make money in India.
Okay.
So India or for that matter any country. And once you have got some idea, okay, banking makes money, tech makes money, pharma makes money, consumer makes money, then okay, now I have a broad idea. And now let me look at the companies.
Okay.
So utilities don't make money here.
Right, right.
For some reason, utilities infrastructure don't make money. Though we have the world's biggest deficit out there. So should I bother about these companies? I should be skeptical. Why they are not making money? Despite the opportunity is big. You run 200,000 megawatt power plants. Yet there is no power company which is some $10-15 billion here except for NTPC.
Right.
So there is some reason behind that. You know, regulatory reasons or whatever. So before you start investing, you have to be very clear where to play.
Correct, right. So how does a non-professional investor start his journey towards investing, assuming he wants to manage his own money? Because A, it is very time consuming, and B, it can be quite expensive. Any mistakes, in fact, can be quite expensive. So how does one do that?
Yeah, so he has to pay his tuition fees, okay?
Right.
And tuition fee comes by way of mistakes. So when he is at early stage, say if he is investing few lakhs rupees, few thousand rupees. So first mistake he makes on a, say, a lakh rupees portfolio, if he loses 10,000 rupees, that will be his best, cheapest possible tuition fee.
Right.
Okay, but 10,000 is like a 10% of his portfolio. He will feel very, I mean, he'll be awake whole night if his 10% of net worth is gone. But the lesson which he is going to learn for that 10,000 rupees is going to be lifelong. So in investing at least, there is, I mean, of course you have to keep reading books, blogs, magazines, newspapers, yes, but on top of it, how do you internalize? What really makes you understand things is that when you commit mistake and you are being punished by the market.
So what are the main principles that you follow or that you guide towards when it comes to investing?
See, investing is about frameworks. So how to look at competition. So if you have read Michael Porter and his 2-3 books, Competitive Advantage, Competitive Strategy, you'll get a very good formal idea of how to look at competition.
Okay.
Now, what you learned in the book, you have to practice it in the actual ground.
Right.
So once you start doing that, you'll realize that there are a lot of insight in that particular framework. Everybody doesn't use that particular framework. So when you use it and you are master of using it, you make a lot of money. You are able to understand the prospect for the company not only currently but what could happen in the future much better than the market or your competition. Okay. All these things, they come to tell you that what is the value of particular company. So it's investing at the end of it is value price gap, which is margin of safety. You have to arrive at huge margin of safety between price and value. Now price is there every day.
Right.
Okay, value is the one thing you have to find your own process. And left, right, you know, you have to find your process to figure out what is the approximate intrinsic value of this company.
The 4 pillars that you have talked about are QGLP, so quality, growth, longevity and price. Now, aside from that, how much importance would you give to something like innovation? Because if we look at the telecom sector, for example, we cannot possibly expect the kind of growth that we've seen in the past unless there's some major innovation that comes into it. So how much importance would you put on innovation per se?
Yeah, so if you look at QGLP, QGL is part of the value assessment and P is the price.
Right.
Okay. Now, in the Q, the first, there are 2 parts of Q, quality of business and quality of management.
Right.
When you look at quality of business, you have to bother about the whatever matters to that business.
Okay. Okay.
You have to, so when you talk about telecom business, anything to do with technology, you have to be very, very much on top of the subject that what can happen in next 5 years, 10 years or 15 years. And that of course includes the innovation in that particular field.
Right, right.
So earlier telecom was a wired business, then wireless. From wireless it is going to do a complete IP. All internet based it is becoming. So telecom and internet, I don't think there will be any difference at the end of it.
Correct.
So you have to be, and within IP, in the internet access, how exactly things are going to change. So I mean, those things are part of your business assessment, and when you want to see 10, 15 years, 20 years into the future, you have to be really taking into account all the impact of innovation.
Okay, so making large concentrated bets on quality businesses at the right price is something that's really easier said than done.
Yeah.
And often people may have as many as 50 different stocks that they want to bet on. How do you really zero in on the right stocks?
At some point of time, till about 94, 95, till I read Buffett, I was clueless about the quality. Then he started talking about quality franchises and Gillette and Coca-Cola, American Express, those kind of things, Seas Candy of all. So that we started learning about the quality of businesses. So clearly you have to understand quality, size of the opportunity, competitive structure, and then at some point of time realize that this business, and then you have to also throw what is understanding of future of Indian economy.
Right.
So like we call it India the next $1 trillion opportunity. So the growth in India, I mean at one level is, I mean you can see growth for next, 25, 30 years.
Yes.
I have seen in my own eyes what has happened in last 30, 35 years. I don't think next 30, 35 will be less exciting than last 35.
Right.
So I think India has a tremendous growth potential from here. Put that with all other understanding of competitive structure, quality of business, quality of management, what is the mathematics of growth, how this entire thing adds up to creating a particular size of value, and what price you are paying.
Correct.
So what happens is that you are able to take this concentrated bets not individually, you do it in the portfolio.
Right.
So the portfolio approach also helps you take a concentrated bets.
Right. I want to pick up on the point of price and valuation, because more often than not, when all the other boxes are ticked off, the price tends to become very expensive. So how do you decide that the stock at a particular valuation, even though it's very expensive, is still worth buying? Page Industries, for example, in 2011, it was at a certain price and which we thought was very expensive. Now today, the same stock is still 5 times from those levels. So how do you make that assessment really?
Yeah, see, buying is much easier. When I looked at Page, I mean, we bought Page in when it was about 1,000 crores or even smaller than that. So, so buying is very, very clear. The issue is when these franchises are becoming bigger and are popular,
right,
and known to the whole world, that even it is being asked here. So clearly, these stocks are moved. So now, at what level to say this is the value price gap is just the negative? So value is less and price is more. So one of the thought process that one is that clearly you have to look at the growth rate,
okay,
quality of franchise, growth rate, and longevity of growth rate. So long as you see the growth going at about 25-30% for say 5 years, 7 years,
okay,
you should not be in too much of hurry to sell the stocks.
Okay.
Typically, because of the quality and very good recent past, you get a lot of time after the company has slowed down to sell it at almost the top price. That's been my experience.
Okay.
So long as the franchise is very high quality.
Right. Right.
So you don't try to sell too soon when the growth momentum is on.
So the consumption story is still yet to play out possibly, but as far as these FMCG and consumer stocks are concerned, these sectors, do you think there is time to enter this space at these current valuations?
Yeah. See, I think as the economy goes from say currently 2 trillion to 4, 5, 6 trillion, I mean in 2025, we are betting for at least 2025, next 10 years.
Right.
If you want to do any valuation of these stocks, at least you have to talk about 2025. So in 2025, you could be anywhere between 4 to 6 trillion dollar kind of a market GDP. Now in that situation, the companies which have a high entry barriers, those consumer companies will simply become very, very large. Okay. And there will be a consumption all over. Not only the urban, metro towns, but tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, and thanks to internet, now even the selected rural guys, they will be consuming what you are consuming here. The gap is going to be flattened by internet. So, upcoming consumer boom is going to be big for the companies which have a huge entry barrier, and the companies who are the companies which have which have fancy valuation, the companies which have entry barrier in that segment.
Right.
So the size of the opportunity is big for that category.
Right.
there is, there is no possibility of digitization of that particular category. Say undergarments. I don't think it will be digitized.
Right.
Okay. And that's a category where brand value has some meaning, you know. So as the consumption of that particular product goes up and the size opportunity is big and entry barrier is very high for any new person to come, I think it will be a very interesting thought process to see how big can they become.
Right. So what about the Nestle story? I mean, given what's happened now, because as a stock, it's clearly a bought right stock. But in this current situation, does one sit tight or even possibly buy at these levels at this time?
Yeah, so clearly these are, in the long-term story of any company, these kind of moments do come. You know, unexpected from somewhere, this trouble comes. But I think Nestle is a clearly, bought right, sit tight. In fact, the test of sitting tight is now. So clearly it's there, and if you get it significantly lower price, definitely you must, pile on more.
Would the same principles apply for the consumption story that we're talking about to the pharma sector? Because as far as, again, disposable incomes are concerned, they are again increasing, a lot of rising stress levels, which is giving rise to lifestyle diseases. But valuations are really expensive for pharma companies, even though there's a huge opportunity for them right now.
Yeah, so that's also a very interesting business, because there are two types of pharma. One is the domestic pharma, branded generics, and second is your exports of, to developed countries and actually all over the world. Even to the developing countries. Now, in pharma, one of the themes which has done very well, Sun Pharma, Lupin and all, of course they have made money in India. They made the first success in India. But their bigger success has been the exporting of pharmaceuticals, generic pharmaceuticals to US and other developed countries. Now, there is a concept of value migration.
Okay.
Values of the generic business is migrating from European companies, European and American companies to Indian companies, because India has the lowest price and highest quality. Our quality as good as what Europeans can give, price significantly lower. So obviously the business will come to India,
right?
And it's a very large global opportunity and growing opportunity. So Indians have big opportunity out there. So all these companies are growing despite what their size is now. They're still growing 30-40%.
Correct.
And there is a lot of consolidation opportunity in the sense that a lot of marginal players abroad, they would be sold out to these guys. So that's a very, very interesting space.